welcome to 11 Australia Permanent Colour Launch. In this series of films, you will find all the information you need to know to get you started with 11 Australia Permanent Colour. Back in 2020, we launched our demi-permanent liquid colour range. And now we fast forward a couple of years, a pandemic in between, and we are launching our permanent colour range. So everything you love about the simplicity of the brand is brought to you in this colour range. We still have our naturally derived ingredients. We still have our free-froms as well. And I'm going to take you through all of that information before we get into the colours. We're launching 60 colours to you with 5 intensifiers. This range has absolutely everything you need in a streamlined portfolio to allow you to do any colour work. We have some absolute gems in here. The high lift blondes, the ultra high lift blondes are the most delightful blondes I have ever worked with. And I know you're going to be blown away when I show you some of the before and afters with these. Before we get started, I'm going to remind you about Digi. If you've already been using our liquid demi-permanent colours, you should know about Digi. Digi is your lifesaver. If you have a question, whether that is 3 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you can ask Digi. Digi is not a robot. It's a human person that is a colourist. And all you have to do is log on to Facebook Messenger. And if you're not already spoken to Digi yet, get your Facebook out, your Messenger, put 11 Australia colour Digi 24/7 and you'll find it. The beauty of this is that all of your conversations that you've had previously are already there. You can send a picture. So maybe you're on your own and you've got a client with you and you're like, oh, I don't know whether to use 2 or 4%, or do I use the ultra high lift blondes? Do I use 30 or 40? Well, what's the timing? What's the mixing ratios? All those kind of things that go through your head in an absolute panic. You can ask Digi. It's the perfect tool for you. It takes away all of that guesswork. You will find all the information you need really quickly. So before you do anything else, make sure you download that. So let's go to our values. So this is one of the most exciting bits that I have to share with you, and we'll get onto the tones and the colours and all those kind of questions in a little bit. But for me, this is probably the most important part of it that I have to share with you. Our packaging is recycled and recyclable. So the packages itself is recycled paper. It's recyclable. We have our aluminium, which is recycled and recyclable. And then also the plastic caps that are inside are also recycled and recyclable. Now, these black caps, I know that some of you will say already that you can't do those in certain places. It depends on your county of how you recycle. Some counties don't recycle black plastic, but you can recycle these. So if you're part of one of the places that you can recycle, that you send your stuff off from the salon, you can get these recycled. Now, we have taken out some things that we've already said, but we've also kept some things. So resorcinol. Resorcinol is an irritant. It's commonly used in most hair dyes, but it is a skin irritant. So people can be sensitized to resorcinol. Now, we do know that resorcinol is already banned. It's a banned substance in Japan and also the USA. And we do believe that in the European area, it will be and also a banned substance. So it's something that we've looked at, and we've kind of future-proofed our colour, so we don't have to be stripping things out afterwards. So if you think about it, it's been designed with modern ingredients that give you performance, and that anything we can replace with a naturally derived ingredient, we will. So much to the fact that 2/3 of this tube of tint is actually naturally derived ingredients. So this is like blown my mind. 2/3 of the tube of tint is naturally derived ingredients. We've replaced silicone with sunflower oil, so natural ingredients, sunflower oil, so you get that beautiful shine on the hair. But Vicky's just been said to me on the live chat, she was just, I was blown away by the shine. We're paraben free.
So parabens are what you do to stabilize a product to stop it going off. We are paraben free. We are gluten free, so we use a pea protein within our colours. So your pea proteins are a sort of more modern approach to the proteins. Your wheat proteins tend to be bigger. Your pea proteins are a lot smaller in their molecular weight, so they're able to get into the cortex a little bit further, and it has better bond building capabilities than a wheat protein does. We are also, so that makes us gluten free as well, because we don't use the wheat protein, we use the pea protein, it makes us gluten free. The next one is PPD free. So again, that's something that we can easily replace. We remove the PPD with a PTD. So again, that's one of the things that people tend to be allergic to. One of them is the PPD. We are vegan, so we don't use any animal byproducts within our colours. We use all naturally derived ingredients, and then we're cruelty free. And if you just want to find out some more information about the product, inside your tube of tint is some more information within there, or you can ask Digi. So that's the sort of, like, for me, this is why 11 Australia, why, and I haven't even got onto the performance and the colour and what else you can do with it. But for me, this is really, really important. I know myself, I started to look over the last few years into what products I'm using, what's actually in them. Do they really need to have those chemicals in there? Is there an alternative? And yes, there definitely is. We've got a high performing colour range, but is able to use all of these naturally derived ingredients. So I already talked about the pea protein. So that restores the moisture and the strength and helps to build those bonds within there. The organic sunflower oil seed, which is packed full of vitamin E, that's really good for the scalp. Vitamin E is. It helps with got loads of essential fatty acids, helps with the UV rays. Hydrolyzed quinoa, think about it as your superfood. So quinoa, superfood, it's about strength. It really helps with the kind of retention and shine. Alpha Visible, that's probably the only time I'm going to actually say this, which is made from calamine oil. I have no idea whether I'm saying it right or not, but basically it's calamine oil. So we have removed the things out of there that we don't need in there, and we've replaced it. So calamine oil is really amazing for the scalp. We've had a few instances where people have been using it recently, and we've been sort of asking clients, how does your scalp feel? How does this feel? And we've heard words like it feels very comfortable. We've not had so much irritation. It's not been itching, and they've noticed afterwards that the scalp feels nice and calm. So that one really is something that we've really, really worked on with this one. And then, as I said, gluten-free, vegan, and recycled material. So that's just recapping on those for you. I think it's important to look at all of these, because clients are looking at it, I'm looking at it. I want to make sure that I'm using ingredients that are good for my hair, scalp as well. So I'm going to just quickly move on to our number and lettering system, and then I'm going to reveal the colour chart to you. So our number and lettering system, we use both. So we use both letters and numbers. So it really depends on what you like to talk. How I use it personally, I do in the demis, I do the letters. So a 9V is a 9-2. But if I say 9V in my head, I know I'm talking about a demi-permanent. If you say 9-2, I know I'm talking about a cream permanent colour. So it really depends on how you want to do it. You can do whatever you want. That's just how I do it. We use the 1 to 10 scale, international colouring, but I just wanted to sort of talk to you about the first and the second numbers. So if you have a 9.2, for instance, the 9 is how light or dark the colour is, so how light or dark the hair would be, and then after the point, the decimal point, we have the 2. So if it is just one letter, that is the dominant tone. So it's just that one tone. So a 2 is a V, which is a violet, which is a pink. So that's be able to get your head around that. But if there's 2 numbers or letters, so for instance, a 2.1, the predominant tone would be 75% of that. So the 2 would be 75% of that, or the V. And then the secondary letter or number would be approximately 25%. So 75% is on your first number and 25% is on your secondary number. Now, in a, let's say a GA, for instance, so a gold ash, a 3-1. So 75% of your tone would be gold. So if you was to think about the children's paint, and if you was to get a yellow bit of paint and you put that onto the page in some watercolors, and then if you put some white with that, it's still going to be yellow, but it's going to be a softer yellow. So the GA or the 3-1 will absolutely do that. So it will be a soft muted gold rather than a stronger gold. If it was a 0.3 on its own, that would be the strongest gold that we do, or a 3-3, which would be a gold. If you was a 3-1 or a GA, that would be a softer muted gold, but it still is gold. So you need to think about that when you're overlaying that onto someone's hair that is naturally warm. You are putting a yellow on top of a yellow, so you've got a strong gold. So you need to think about that when you're applying the colours over the natural hair. But all of that will be done on the education, so we won't go too in depth about that tonight. But I just wanted to let you know what the tones are. So 75% of your tone is the first number or letter, and then 25% is the secondary. As I said, we use the international colouring system. So we've got within our range N's, we've got double N's, we've A for ash, AV for violet, G for gold, GV gold violet, copper gold, CG. It's pretty simple, and if you follow, you know, the sort of the international colouring system, you should be able to work that out. I hope that all makes sense to you. The last slide I'm going to share before I get the colour chart out is about the colour wheel. Now, we use the colour wheel so much in our education because for me it's just, it has to be following these guidelines. If you follow the set of rules, which is it's the colour wheel, you won't have a problem. The other little bits like your mixing ratios and your developer choice and things are all just like little bits that we can teach you. But if you follow the general rule of hair colouring, you can't go wrong. Now, we put this into our colour chart, so it's displayed nicely in your colour chart. It's also displayed in your staff room poster. It's on our website. Absolutely everywhere you will find this colour chart, and it is so important to make sure that we're referring to this. On this colour wheel that you can see on the screen, you will see that our N's and double N's, so the O and OO, are right in the centre, and we have a neutral base. I'm going to come on to that in just a second. Then we work all the way, the rings work all the way around to the outside. So the closer into the centre of the wheel, the stronger the tone. So, for instance, the V that's right in the centre, and the R and the O and the blue, they are intensifiers. So they are the strongest tone that's in there. Then you start to work your way out. So, for instance, the 0.6 RR, which you see in the red section, that is a strong dominant tone. However, on the other side, when you look at the blue, you will see the 0.11, the AA, that's a lot of a softer tone. So you'll find that the blues, they're a smaller pigment, they tend to be a little bit softer. Again, we will take you through all of this in our education, but I just wanted to make sure that when you look at this, you can see we've got everything covered that's in there that you need.